I saw that. I was like, someone's a fidget or something. It's just not really.
And I really didn't like the process. It was fun to make.
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought so too. But then I kind of got a feeling like 1,000 different flavors.
Well, the Phillies did. She made like decorated products. Testing all of this back. Playing on babysitters for like so I went to like next ago. I went to him at school.
Yeah.
He was
Brian's doing what?
Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm good. You know my wife? It's okay for me to
Yeah, I think yeah. I got far. Like, but I have the same problem with my dress. There. Two. And Harrison 7. Yeah, summer vacation. Yeah, it's fun. Look. Nice.
Hi, how are you? You don't look like you should be a grandma to two. It's so fun. You look good. Congrats. It's really fun. I know. It's so exciting. I know. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Yeah. Yeah. See when Brian's yeah. Keep that 15. No, you keep the seat. Mom, where do you want Dad? Dad. Yeah. You have my signature. Yes. Yeah. I'll need your water tomorrow. Yes. No, but just have what you want. No,
Family will have a seat, but I want to invite others to fill in. One. Ladies and gentlemen, the family's been seated. There are a few extra chairs. Please don't be bashful. And if I can, I'd like to invite you to come forward. You might be able to hear much better. The last reminder would be to turn off all cell phones for the service. Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, famously said there's a time for everything under the sun. The time to celebrate, to plant, to reap. And he says it's a time to mourn. This afternoon, we gather together to mourn someone very special. Say Hashem Natan Hashem Lakach, God gives and God takes. We're mourning the gift of Freda, Schaffer, Bluma after a long and special life. It's customary we begin the Jewish funeral with the Kriya, with the rendering of our garments. And the reason we do that is for two reasons. We tear next to our heart to remind us that someone so special and dear was torn away from us and the world will never be the same. So for thousands of years, Jewish people have mourned by tearing their garments. But I want to share with you also what the Kabbalah says, Jewish mysticism, of why we tear our garment, our clothing, to remind us that the guf and the neshama, the garment, the body is a garment to the soul, and we tear our garment to remind us that the garment, the body is being taken away from us, but the neshama, the soul, the true identity, will always be with you. So we tear our external part, our garment, our clothing, not ourselves, because the true part of your dear mother, mother-in-law, grandmother will always be with you. May the blessing of Dayana Emet, recognizing that us being finite, limited human beings, God being infinite, we cannot grasp and understand God's ways. We'll continue with a psalm by King David. We know that King David's words, when we say it down here, up in heaven, King David's saying it along with us, welcoming this precious soul. Shir lamalo yisesai na yalari meyayin yavayezri ezri meyimadino yoisei shamayim varetz al yitei lamrit raglacha al yanum shemracha hinei la yanum v'la yishan shemay Yisrael adirei shemracha adirei tzilcha yad yaminecha yoim v'mashem shleyakecha v'yirech v'layla adirei yishmarcha mikol ra yishmar es nafshacha adirei yishmar tzeitzcha v'yacha me'ata v'yadoilam. A song of ascents. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help will come from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protection by your right side. By day, the sun shall not harm you, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. The Lord will guard your life. The Lord will guard you going and you're coming now and forever. The Talmud says that sometimes if a word is worth a mana, when we say if a word is worth $1, silence is worth 2. Who can utter a word at this time as we pay our last respects to someone so special, someone so near and dear, who left a tremendous mark on this world? Born on July 2nd, 1924, Wednesday, the 30th of the month of Sivan, in Johannesburg, South Africa, to our dear parents, May and Lewis. Freda had a good childhood growing up. Life was good. She was very close and loved her dear brother, Stanley, and was always full of love, especially her family. In September 1946, Freda married her dear husband, Harry, or Hirsch Schaffer, in Durban, South Africa. She was a proud Schaffer. But unfortunately, her dear husband passed away at a young age, leaving Freda as a widow at the young age of 46. And for the rest of her life, she dedicated every ounce of her life to her dear family, to her amazing children, Anne, Ian, Eric, and Michael. Her family was everything. Whether it was sports events, academic events, whatever it was, she was always there. Never said a bad word about everyone, always full of love and kindness. Never wanted to inconvenience anyone. Whether it was a ride, you need something, whatever it may be. She never wanted to make anyone uncomfortable in any way. We were speaking on Friday, and I asked, Michael said to describe his mother, there's one word that comes to mind. She was a true lady. I had to look that up because when you say as a Brooklyn boy lady, what does that really mean? And I looked it up, and that's very special. Ian said that she was a truly classy woman. And Anne said it was a woman of royalty. But so many more words came to mind of this amazing individual who lived 99 years. I want to share something fascinating that the Torah and Judaism teach us, that a name, a Jewish name, is not just a label or something for your ID, but it's something that's connected to the very core, the neshama, the true identity of that individual. So much so that we're told that when parents or whoever it is choose a name for a child, it's a form of prophecy because they know the name specifically connected to that individual. Freda's Jewish name was Bluma. Bluma means a flower. Freda was a beautiful flower with strong roots. She raised very strong and proud children who were proud Jews. Where there was always celebrating Shabbat and the holidays together with the family and the extended family. all the way down to was bringing chocolate cake when she went over to Anne's house for Shabbat, knowing that that's what the grandchildren love. Whether it was making the best knedlach or the best kichel. Like a flower, it wasn't about itself, it was about what it gives to others. Freda was never about herself. It was about everyone else. Very unselfish, would drop anything, anytime to be there for our family, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Michael shared with me that she encouraged him many years ago when he was the youngest at home to pursue his dreams and leave South Africa, coming to America, although she knew that this meant she would be left at home alone. She was like a second mom to her grandchildren. Whether going over or not going over to playing cards for a sleepover, or at times even taking out her grandchildren without their parents even knowing, whether it was to Starbucks or for lunch. But I want to share with you something else. That if you look at the name, in addition to this flower, what Bluma means, her Jewish name, the gematria of the name Bluma is 79. Gematria is another way, to a deeper level, to understand the name. 79 is also a word in the Torah. At the beginning of the Torah, it says, Ach Noach, which can mean, we translate as only pleasant, only kindness, only good. This is what your dear mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother was in every way. Passed away this Friday, the 23rd of the Jewish month of Iyar, May 31st. If you look at the Jewish calendar, something very special happened that day many years ago. When the Jewish people were in the desert, this was the day that the Be'era Shel Miriam, the rock, the well that traveled with the Jewish people, that gave forth water and sustained the Jewish people for all the challenging and difficult years in the desert. This is the day, the 23rd of Iyar, that it happened. And we know in Judaism, water is not just water. Water symbolizes life, blessings of every kind. And for 99 years, it was a blessing to this amazing family, children, 12 grandchildren, 16 great-grandchildren. The greatest form of nachas and enjoyment a person can have was when they have succeeded in passing down their values and morals that mean so much to them, to the next generation. So I want to finish off with one small thought. The Talmud says about our forefather Jacob. It says, Yaakov Avinu lo meit. Jacob, our forefather, did not die. If you've ever studied Talmud before, you know the Talmud asks, what does that mean? That's silly. That's crazy. Sure, he died. We mourned him. We buried him. The Torah tells us how they mourned him. He's buried in Hebron. We can visit till this very day. What do you mean Jacob didn't die? So the Talmud says, very simple but powerful words. Ma zaru b'chayim afu b'chayim. Physically, he passed on, but Zara, his children are alive. So really, hu b'chayim, following his legacy, his values. So in a way, Jacob still lives. And I turn to the amazing family, and especially to the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, to know you had such a special person in your life. But she continues to live on with you. To live with you, her legacy, her goodness, her chesed, her kindness, her love is something that will always be with you. Last Sunday, when we said some prayers together at Shalom Park, when we finished, we went out, and then I was called back in because Freda was holding this beautiful picture of her and her dear husband, Harry, and she was looking at it. She picked it up and was looking at it. I don't know if you remember when we all went back in. So I say that up in Gan Eden, up in the heavens, your dear husband Harry's hers is waiting for you with open arms and being welcomed by all our loved ones. And your legacy will continue in your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. It's not my honor to call up their son, Ian, to please come up and share some special words.
Rabbi, family and friends. My name is Ian Schaffer, the second eldest and the eldest son of Freda. This is not a good day for Anne, Eric, Michael, and I. We are here today to say goodbye to our mom, Freda, who was a gift from God, not only to her family, but to all that knew her. Where are the words I need today for all to understand the degree to what Freda meant to Anne, Michael, and I, Eric and I? There are no words that are sufficient. Yet, words is all I have. So I'll do my best to honor our mother as we saw her, someone who loved her children unconditionally. On behalf of Anne, Eric, Michael, and I would like to begin by thanking everyone that is here today and to those who have sent their condolences. We have received countless phone calls, emails, texts, thoughts, and prayers from all over the world. The messages have been comforting during this difficult time and have been a reminder to what Anne, Eric, Michael, and I already know, that our mom was a beautiful person, both inside and outside, and that the impact that Freda had on all that knew her and met her left an indelible impression. Our mom was our compass in our life. She was our north, south, east, and west, not only to Anne, Eric, Michael, and I, but to her 12 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. Mom, you brought us into this world, and it's going to be hard to imagine a life without you. You were there when we took our first breath and never left our side as you navigated the four of us through life's happiness and sadness. In life, we lose people we love that will never be replaced. Losing our mom is going to be hard for Anne, Eric, Michael, and I to live with. A void that is irreplaceable. My brother Eric and I live out of state, and in Eric's case, he and his family reside in London. This is particularly hard for the four of us. And I, although Freda was heading to 100 years old, we are not ready to say goodbye, not at 99, not at 100, or not at 101. We would give anything for just one more day, but sadly, that is not to be. Mom, love never dies, and you have our absolute commitment that Anne, Eric, Michael, and I will continue to love you until our last breath. Mom, your heart will live on within the four of us. We will carry your heart wherever we are headed, north, south, east, or west. Your heart is safely tucked inside your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Some hearts just belong together, and nothing will ever change. We loved you from the day we were born, and we love you now. Always did, always will. You will forever be in our minds and forever in our hearts. Freda gave us the drive and ambition. She gave us the backbone, support, and she taught us what was right and what was wrong. Our mom attended every one of our school events and would never miss a sports event, offering encouragement and congratulating us on our performance. Even when my brother Eric, an aspiring goalkeeper, led in 8 goals in a school soccer game and has never stopped crying since. Freda had the remarkable ability to find light in the darkest corners. In her later years, despite the challenges of ill health, our mom's spirit remained unbroken. She faced each day with the same courage and positivity that characterized her entire life. Her resilience in the face of adversity was a testament to her character, a character marked by strength, dignity, and grace. Never have I, nor will I, ever meet someone so special, so strong as our mom. Freda was incomparable. She raised us with a blend of discipline and tenderness, always reminding us to be respectful, be kind, and to be our best selves. I was always proud to walk into a room with my mom. I was honored to introduce her to my friends, and I'm humbled to be her son. Life was not a bed of roses for Freda. Our mom was a widow at the age of 46. She was left with 4 children and had the responsibility of bringing us up, teaching us, guiding us, and at the same time, allowing us to be who we are, always with a smile on her face. Freda always placed the thoughts and needs of others in front of her own and never wanted to inconvenience anyone. Oh, was my mom so proud of being the wife of our dad? Never missed an opportunity to sit in the car whilst my dad did his medical rounds or went to visit patients in the hospital. Freda just wanted to be with our dad, and those who knew our father Harry would understand why. Our dad was taken so young from us. He did not see any of his children married. He did not see grandchildren or great-grandchildren. Our dad, Harry, passed away at 57. He did not see how we have managed to navigate a new life in America. And Mom, Dad is waiting for you with open arms and with that big smile on his face. And please tell him about Anne, Eric, Michael, and I, our children, and our grandchildren. And please tell him that a day does not go by without his 4 children thinking about him. We love you, Dad. I think you'll determine that Freda did an incredible job, single-handedly, with Anne, Eric, Michael, and maybe me. She loved us more than we ever thought possible. And when Freda gave us, it's everlasting. Our mom was 99, a few days short of her 100th birthday. In South Africa, as in England, we played a game called cricket. It was every world-class cricketer's dream to score 100 runs in a single game, referred to as a century. Not many world-class cricketers achieved this milestone or got close. And when they did, they were elevated to a very high status throughout the sporting world at a very high level. Mom, you have achieved what every cricket player in the world aspires to, and only a very few have achieved this milestone or got close. Mom, you outdid them. You outplayed the best of the best in the world, and you did not even play the game or understand the game. As I conclude, Mom, you'll continue to be an inspiration to the 4 of us, your 12 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. We will carry your heart until our last breath. And Mom, your intrinsic strength that you possess will live on within each of your children, and we will make it because that is what you want. In conclusion, I want to say the following. My brother Michael has been an outstanding son. It is difficult to find words to demonstrate how Michael has looked after our mom. Every second, of every minute, of every hour, of every day, since our mom immigrated to Denver from South Africa in 1986. Every parent would be so lucky to have Michael as a son. Mark, Anne, Eric, and I are humbly grateful for everything you have done for mom, and know that mom's life would have been very different if it was not for you. We thank you. We all thank you. We love you, Mark. During the last 4 days of our mom's life, she would briefly open her eyes and in a graceful and elegant manner, wave her fingers ever so slightly and whisper, "Thank you, thank you, good night, good night." Mom, it is Anne, Eric, Michael, and I that says thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mom, we love you. Good night, Mom.
Thank you for those special words. And I want to call up Tuesday granddaughter Hannah to please share some special words.
My Granny Freda was an incredible woman. She was a devoted mom, the world's greatest grandmother to myself and 8 other grandchildren, and a great grandmother to 19 grandchildren. She was a fabulous cook, a smart dresser, a supportive friend, and the true definition of a lady. Most importantly, Granny Freda to me was a second mom. This week, as I've said goodbye to Granny Freda, I've just thought about how incredibly lucky I have been to have had my grandmother with me for my entire life. Granny moved to Denver in 1986, right before I was born. It is rare for a grandparent-grandchild relationship to be so essential and so long-lasting. But Granny Freda was that exceptional kind of person every single day of her life. She was always a present part of my everyday life in such a tangible way. I have the most wonderful memories of her picking me up from school, sleeping at her house, playing cards and rummy cube, swimming, making spider webs with her knitting yarn with my cousin Deborah, celebrating birthdays, Jewish holidays together, and cooking together. She made the most amazing chicken pies, brandy tarts, kiffle, curry, herring, chocolate chip cookies, soups. The list is endless. She loved to teach me how to set a proper table, the importance of good manners, and the value of family. She loved to share stories of her life in South Africa, stories of Grandpa Harry and how they met, their nanny Doreen and their driver John. Above all, her favorite thing to talk about was her children. She even had kept copies of their old school report cards that we would look at together and we would read them. I loved asking stories about who was the best behaved, who did the best in school, who got in trouble the most. One of my favorite stories is how my dad, Michael, got his name. Granny told me that she was so scared to tell Anne that she had a third brother that she let Anne name my dad. Saying goodbye to someone we all love so much is always painful and difficult. It has been an incredibly heavy year of loss for me. However, saying goodbye to Granny the way I did, I am incredibly grateful for. It was difficult and emotional, but also really beautiful. We should also all be so lucky to live a life like she did. Granny was able to pass away 1 month shy of 100, peacefully, surrounded by her children and a few of her grandchildren. We were all able to clearly say goodbye and share how much we all love her. She held our hands, she kissed them, we kissed hers. And I know those are memories we will all cherish and remember for the rest of our lives. Harrison, Leo, Lily, and I now have two beautiful angels looking over us. My mom and my granny Freda. I will carry forward the love and lessons Granny taught me. She will forever live in my heart, in my memories, and in the stories I will forever share with her.
Thank you, Hannah. And I want to call up another granddaughter, Hadassah.
Thank you, Rabbi Mintz. Your words of talk very meaningful. And yeah, and Hannah, you spoke so beautifully and meaningfully, and it's the same themes that we're all talking about. So this is really who my grandmother was. I'm the daughter of Anne. I'm the firstborn grandchild of Freda. I'm also the mother of Freda's firstborn great-grandchild, Maya, who was named for Freda's mother, May. And I speak today on behalf of my parents, Anne and Mervyn, and my sisters, Naomi and Deborah. Freda's grandchildren, my sisters, and all of our cousins, Haley, Dean, Candace, Megan, Nicholas, and Hannah, and her 16 great-grandchildren, all called her Granny, or Gran for short. My father lovingly called her Granny. Those who saw Granny knew that she was a beautiful and elegant woman, never a hair out of place, perfectly applied red lipstick with a hint of orange, shoes always coordinated with her bag and dress. But those who really knew Granny understood the deep love that she felt for her family, including my children and my sister's children, Maya, Talia, Livia, Sammy, and Judah. Those who really knew her warmth and kindness. My sisters and I loved and admired so many things about her. Most of all, and as you've heard all of the speakers talk about, she shared a profound love with her husband, Harry, for whom I am named, along with Ian's daughter, Haley, and Michael's daughter, Hannah. Harry passed, as you've heard, when Granny was just 46. It was 6 weeks before my parents' wedding. But for the short time they had together, they brought into the world 4 beautiful children, and their love affair was one for the ages. Even decades after Harry's death, Granny spoke about him with affection and excitement that cannot be adequately conveyed. On her bedside table, she kept a small black and white photo of the two of them from their wedding day. Harry was smiling happily into the camera, and Granny was gazing at him lovingly. They looked like movie stars. My sisters and I loved looking at the photo when we lay in her bed. Even from that tiny, colorless image, surrounded by the white, round frame, we could feel their devotion to one another. The love that Granny and Harry shared translated into love for us. When Naomi and I were young, my parents would send us to South Africa for the summers to visit Granny in Durban and our parental grandparents in Pretoria. Some of our fondest childhood memories include Granny taking us swimming in the ocean. As we were running on the sand into the water, she would call after us, "Don't go out of my sight for 1 second." And now as mothers ourselves, we can appreciate the relief she must have felt when we emerged from the ocean unscathed, and frankly, that we emerged from the ocean at all. After our swim, Granny took us back to her apartment. We'd race up the stairs while she would take the lift. And for the Americans here, that's the elevator. She then prepared Michelin star lunches for us, including roast chicken and chops and chips. And again, for the Americans, that's lamb chops and French fries. Granny's French fries were always homemade. In the afternoons, she would invite her closest friends to visit, Joyce, Beryl, and Iris, who were delighted by our American accents and tolerated our performances of Maybe from the musical Annie and Singing in the Rain. In the evenings, we would play rummy, a card game that she taught us, but always let us win. After all of her children had left South Africa, Granny joined us in Denver, where she was a constant presence in our lives. Our youngest sister, Deborah, had the privilege of never knowing what it was like to have her oceans away. We spent every Friday night together. Granny sat at the head of our Shabbat table opposite my father. My sisters and I would take turns sitting next to her. Granny drove us around before we could drive ourselves. We watched Wimbledon with her every summer. She would say, "Girls, come quick, the tennis is on." Every Thursday from the time Deborah was in high school, she would bring a sandwich from the Jewish deli to school, and they would eat lunch together. This secret lunch date was not revealed to the rest of us until years later. She never missed a performance, a birthday, or a graduation. She helped my mother move my sisters and me into our college dorms. True to form, she cleaned every drawer before we unpacked our clothes. I studied for my law school entrance exam at her dining room table, where she would leave out chocolates and Diet Coke. I would paint her nails after I finished my mock. I was a very poor manicurist, but she always complimented my handiwork. Even in her last years, we could feel that Granny continued to love us fiercely. Last week, my father and my sisters were in New York, celebrating the high school graduation of my youngest daughter, Talia. My mother left New York early to be by Granny's side during her remaining days. Talia graduated Thursday evening, and Granny passed Friday morning. I think that she waited for the graduation to be over. I know that she didn't want us to feel any sadness as we celebrated the achievements of her beloved great-grandchild, Talia. Over the years, Granny told my sisters and I about a reoccurring dream. Harry was standing on a balcony, and she was standing below. She felt that he was waiting for her, but she also knew that he did not want her to rush her time with us. And Grandpa, we are so grateful to you for letting us have her for so long. Granny, we know that you and Harry are now together, once again in the balcony of Olam Haba, which gives great comfort to Mom, Dad, Naomi, Deborah, and I. We know that Harry will take great care of you. We love you and miss you very much.
Hail Male Racham in prayer, followed by Hail Male Rachamim, Sheichein Bamiroyim, Hamatzei Menucha Nechoyena, Ala Kanafei Ashkina. B'malois kedoshim utoirim kizei arakia mazirim es nishmas bluma bas koisha v'meishal choylei lama b'avur shanach v'misparlim b'das karas nishmasa b'gan eiden teibun ufasa v'chem ala rachamim yastirei b'seisek nafav li'olamim v'yitzrei b'srei rachayim es nishmasa Adinayu Nachalas, Sanuach Vishalom Amishkava, V'neimar, Amen. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant proper repose into the sheltering of the presence of the lofty levels of the holy and pure, and shine the brightness of the Shekhinah onto the soul of Bluma, Freda, who has gone to her world, and for whose memory we pray. May her repose be in paradise. May the Master of Compassion bring her under the cover of his wings and bind their soul in the bond of life. May the Lord be her heritage. May she rest in peace. Let us all say, Amen. it's a mitzvah of kavod hamet, that there's the family, and friends, and those present to come and show our last respects, to participate in covering the grave. I want to call first the family, and we fill the face with food with the mourner's cottage. Chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chaye, V'chol, Beit Yisrael, Agalav, Yizman, Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yishmei Rabba, Varach, V'yalach, V'yalme, Almaya, V'yitbarech, V'yishtabach, V'yitbaer, V'yitzramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yidalev, V'yidalal, Shemei, V'yikadashah, V'richu. Ve'ela, Minkal, V'yirchata, V'shirata, Tushbach, V'mechem, Asa, Tamiram, V'yalma, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, L'chaim Tovim Aleinu, V'alkal Yisrael, V'yimru, Amen. Seh Shalom V'rama, V'hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, V'alkal Yisrael, V'yimru, Amen. We can just make a through lines where it's customary, like a pathway for the mourners to walk through. As we wish them Hamakam Yinachim Eskem.
You'll be out here tomorrow. We get a chance to talk.
Announce again that everyone's welcome to join us already now following Michael and Heidi's home. Goes from the cemetery. Everyone's welcome. As the family walks through, we say together, Hamakom. Hamakom Yinachem Eskem V'Tek Shar Avei Letzia Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We should know you only of the happy and good occasions. Simchas, Gesundheit, and Freilichkeit, good health and happiness. Blessings for us, Am Yisrael, for Eretz Yisrael, and all these rockets in every way. Thank you. This concludes our service.